Hey, hi guys, how are you all? I hope that you all are fine. So I think there is a small noise from somewhere. Okay, so hi guys, how are you all? So hi, how are you, Saurabh and Subrat?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I'm totally fine. So I joined in the very last minute, right, today. So I'm very. Hey guys, hi, how are you all? So this is Sai Kiran from Let's Upgrade, and let me introduce you to today's instructor and also our academic manager at the same time. So our instructor is Saurabh Gupta, who will be teaching you all guys JavaScript in the upcoming 6 to 7 days time period, and also we are having Subrat Kumar sir. He himself is one of our instructor at Let's Upgrade, but at the same time, he is our academic manager. I welcome every one of you to our JavaScript essential program, in which you guys will be learning a lot much of how to develop real-time web apps. Okay, and the very basics of JavaScript will be counted here. Okay, so yep, hi guys, how are you all? So this is Sai Kiran from Let's Upgrade, and also I have one more new member to introduce here. We are having one more our program coordinator. Hey, program coordinator, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hi, guys. A very pleasant good evening to every one of you out there. So, hope everybody is doing great, right? Okay, this is Varnipriya. I'm the moderator for this JavaScript course. So, as you guys know, I'm representing you. So, whatever doubts you have or questions you have, throw them in the chat. And don't worry, every doubt is will be cleared. So, whatever you have, shoot them in the chat first and be interactive. I promise you guys, you will have a great journey in this course. Okay, trust me. So
Yeah.
thank you and all the very best. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Aparna, for Varna Priya, sorry, right? Varna Priya. Yes, Varna Priya. Thanks a lot for being our program coordinator for this whole thing, moderator. Now, guys, what is Let's Upgrade? Let's Upgrade is a place where you all guys can start learning anything for free of cost. Let it be web development, let it be mobile development, let it be like cloud computing, let it be DSA, data structures and algorithm placement stuff. Okay, and let it be Python or let it be anything, you all guys can start learning for free of cost. Okay, and the same thing, we are here a certification program. It's a 7 days certification program which you guys are gonna start here, and it's gonna be a 15 hours of journey along together, including assignments and everything which we'll be providing to you all. So in this thing, Saurabh sir will be teaching you from the very scratch. Now let me introduce Saurabh sir. Who is Saurabh sir? Who is going to teach you guys JavaScript? JavaScript is basically a very amazing world's number one language. Okay, so now having this world's number one language, we are having one more amazing trainer. So this trainer is not just a trainer. This trainer is a working professional. He works in a software industry, and very soon he will be also joining Let's Upgrade's team as a software manager and all. And at the same time, he's a real-time working developer who has an amazing experience in teaching. So thanks a lot, Saurabh sir, for joining here and teaching these all students JavaScript and related technologies. So what do you
Yes.
think? I mean, what is your perspective? So would you like to share here? Yep, go ahead, sir.
So actually, I'm really excited. Like this is my second batch teaching JavaScript for Let's Upgrade. So I'm really excited. And I can see a lot of students. So actually, that's kind of intimidating, but I'm really excited to teach all like of it that I know. So yes,
Yep.
I'd like to take this opportunity, the hours that we have for teaching JavaScript. I'd like to take that opportunity to teach everything that I have in my mind, everything that is really needed to develop anything in the world, right? So that
100%.
students find it very easy to make applications and websites. So that's my only aim here.
100%, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for that. And now, Subrat, sir, would you like, as academic manager, I mean, what are your views? What is that you're expecting from the students, and what is that students can expect from us? So, what do you think it is? And guys, okay, after Subrat sir completes, I will be explaining you regarding our 3 top class rules. Then you can start your learning here. Yep, sir. Subrat sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Kiran. So yeah, I see like there's a lot of excitement in the student. I can like sense that from the chat actually. So yeah, guys. So I'm not like JavaScript person. So Saurabh sir is the one who can actually explain you more about that and tell you more about that. But anyway, I'll just say like it is very important, as already Kiran has mentioned. Like it is used like maybe web development or mobile development. JavaScript is one of the crucial thing which is used, right? So here we have a very amazing trainer, Saurabh sir. So take as much as you can. That's what I would say. Okay. So yeah, great going, guys. So all the best for this course. I hope you would like learn a lot of things from Saurabh sir.
100%. Okay, so now here comes, thanks a lot Subrat sir for motivating our students. And now here goes our 3 questions. Okay, so it's the top 3 rules. Okay, the number 1 rule is everyone who is attending our program needs to fill in the attendance form. Okay, so everyone who is attending our program need to fill the attendance form. The attendance form is there in the description. You can actually go and find it in the description below, in the YouTube description. Click on it and fill in your attendance. Okay, so every day you just need to fill in the attendance to be eligible for the exam. Okay, so to be eligible for the exam, you just only need to fill the attendance form daily. Fine, clear? 1 point. Now, second point is you all guys are gonna be eligible. If you put 7 days attendance constantly, you will be eligible for Amazon Echo / Google Home Mini giveaway. So we do this giveaway after end of the whole program. What you just need to do is we will be giving the 3 people randomly selected based upon their attendances and give them Alexa, or that is Alexa Dot or like Google Home Mini, and we'll ship it. Already we have shipped many of them, many of those things. So we just need you all guys to be live, attend, learn from the best teacher in JavaScript, which I know personally, and listen from the comments and listen from all the students who are there out. Just hear out to them and you will understand. Okay, so I will be in the backstage. Subrat sir will be in the backstage. You will only interact with Varnapriya and Saurabh sir. Saurabh sir will be teaching you. We have a framework. That framework is known as LetsUpgrade's Hacked Teaching Framework. Our Hacked Teaching Framework is all about, you will get 15 minutes to understand a topic. After 15 minutes, you can ask the questions. Varna will and Saurabh sir will coordinate together and they will be asking you all the doubts in the chat. Okay. So apart from that, attendance form is not working. So let me just check that attendance form. I mean, many of the people are mentioning it. So just let me have a look at this whole stuff. Just give me 1 minute, guys. I will also cross-check it. Apart from that, from which all cities you all guys are? I just want to know this thing. Can you put it in the chat from which city you belong to and what is that you want to learn in JavaScript from us? Okay, so please let us know that. Okay, so all the 300 people who are watching us right now, so please do let us know what is that you are expecting out of this whole program. And let me check your attendance form. Just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Hey guys, your attendance form is working. Actually, it is working. I mean, I have just done it, and you guys can also check it out. Okay, so let me share my screen in the meantime. So just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Fine. So your entire screen. So I hope that you guys can see my screen. Yes, you guys can see my screen, right? So here is our, this attendance form. I just click on this attendance form, which is there in the below bottom side of our description. Oh, wow. Fine. So here it goes. So here it is. Actually, it is working. So just go and fill it up. Clear? So just try refreshing and all. You will be able to open it. Okay. So that's it. That's the simple thing. And apart from that, I'm seeing many of the people coming from Mumbai, Kolhapur, and Hyderabad and different places. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining here. Now, only one thing. We are trying to make you all guys efficient enough to understand any web app development. Just go and take the most opportunity of this whole platform, which we are trying to create here day in, day out. Just one request, that is, you started this program, finish it up to make sure that you all guys are one level above all the people who are not attending today. Okay, so that's the only thing which I want to request. And thanks a lot for being here. And yep, over to you, Saurabh sir and Varnapriya. So you guys can take it ahead from here. Okay, so me and Saurabh sir will be in the back end. Any questions you all guys can ask these two people and they will be answering it. Saurabh sir, the number one rule is 15 minutes, Varnapriya and you coordination for question answers. And that's what the new teaching is we are expecting. Okay, thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. Meet you all guys on the giveaway day. Okay, once I'll be meeting every one of you on the giveaway. So do please fill up all your attendance forms and all. Okay, chalo. Bye bye guys from my side and Subrat sir side.
Vani, can you share my screen here? Yeah. Yep. Thank you. Okay. So hello guys. Welcome all of you to the JavaScript batch. Okay. So I hope you're as excited as I am to start with JavaScript, right? So I have made a little bit of PPT that will follow throughout the JavaScript course, like, okay. And I'll tell you what I have planned for you. So like we have around maybe 7 lectures of JavaScript. So I have planned around 2 projects in this, right? So we have a lot to learn. We have a lot of things to cover in 7 days. Plus we are going to create 2 projects, right? Yes, so it will go till 7 lectures. Yeah, it will go for 7 lectures. Yes, Gitika, I know that. I know you're an alumni of the JS batch. Okay, so should we start, guys? Should we start with it? Yes, we'll share the PPT with you. Don't worry, Manmohan. We'll share the PPT with you. Okay. Okay, great. So let's start. So I hope you people can see my screen. Everyone can see my screen here. So let's start. So first of all, before starting, yes, it's 7 days in a row. Before starting, I just want you people to know that the prerequisite for this batch is a little bit of CSS and HTML. So if you know a little bit of CSS and HTML, it will be a really great thing. If you don't know at all, not a problem at all. I'll be teaching a little bit of it in between the lectures. But if you have that HTML and CSS background, that will be a really great thing to have, right? And don't worry, we are going to develop real-time projects. Like, first of all, this is JavaScript, so we are very limited because to develop a real-time, to develop a complete project, we also need backend. That will be taught in the future lectures, but we are limited, but we'll still try to make the best out of JavaScript, right? So that is what we are going to do here. So if you know a little bit of HTML and CSS, that's great. If you have a little bit of background of any kind of programming language like C programming or Java programming, that is also a great thing to have. But don't worry, we are going to start JavaScript from scratch, so you don't have to worry about anything. And you can ask any doubts related to JavaScript, any doubts related to JavaScript frameworks or anything, I'll be happy to answer. Okay, fine, then let's start. So the first question, like, okay, I'll just ask you a question. Does anyone know, like, don't go on internet, don't go anywhere else, whatever you know, what exactly is JavaScript according to you? Just let me know, let me know in the chats. A single line, it's fine, totally fine for me. So can anyone tell me what exactly is JavaScript? I'll explain you everything about it, don't worry at all. I just need 3 or 4 answers from you people. Just I want to know what exactly is your understanding of JavaScript. What do you know about JavaScript? Right? Gives functions to web page, it's a browser language, coding. Okay, a lot of answers are coming. Used in front-end language, is a scripting language. Yes, exactly. People are right. Text-based programming language based on event handling. Part of Java. It's not a part of Java. First of all, it's not part of Java. So anyone assuming that JavaScript is somewhere related to Java, it's not. So clear your mind. JavaScript is not at all related to Java. First thing. Okay. Okay. A lot of answers are like really good, right? Okay. Brain of web page. That is good. Validation happens. Okay, you know the functionality of it. That's totally fine. Okay, then let's move on to it. I'll explain you what exactly it is. So let me go to the exact slide that I want you to know. Okay. So I have 2 lines here. Okay. I have wrote for you. I have like created a PPT and I have wrote 2 lines for you. What exactly is JavaScript? But I'll be explaining that in a very great detail. Okay. So first of all, JavaScript is a DOM manipulation language. But now here there is a problem. We don't exactly know what is DOM and what is DOM manipulation, right? And you, when you go on internet, you might have heard like, okay, JavaScript is a client-side scripting language, right? You might have heard it. JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. So we're going to know all about it. So first of all, just like any other programming language, JavaScript is also a programming language. Like it has variables, it has loops, it has arrays, like it has almost all the concepts that a programming language has, right? Variables, loops, arrays, constants, conditional statements, objects, everything that a normal programming language has. And don't worry, the things that I have told just now, I'm going to cover everything in this session, right? Second thing, okay, so JavaScript is a scripting. Okay, let me get back first. Okay, so I have wrote here JavaScript is a scripting and DOM manipulation language. Now, when I say scripting, scripting is somewhere related to programming. Just the difference here is, whenever I say a programming languages are the languages which are compiled, and scripting languages are the languages which are interpreted, right? So you have to understand this first. Scripting language, whenever, like, we call a language a scripting language if if it gets interpreted, and we call a language a programming language if it gets compiled. Just like you have heard of C, C++, Java, they all are programming languages because they get compiled, right? Before executing, you first compile them, that converts them into binary code, and then you execute, right? You might have learned about C and C++. In the same case, JavaScript is not compiled. JavaScript is interpreted by the browser. That's why it is known as scripting language, right? So the first point is JavaScript is a scripting language. So almost same as programming. The only difference is it is interpreted and not compiled, right? Don't worry, I'll explain you everything. DOM manipulation and everything. Don't worry about it. Okay. If you don't know what exactly compilation and interpretation is, I'll just tell you in a I'll just tell you a little definition. Okay, let me first get back from this. And what I'll do is I'll open a doc for you where I can write anything that I want, right? So that you can see. So let me open a new document for you. Okay. So I want docs. Yes, Python is also considered as a scripting language. So there's not much difference. It's just what you call it. That's all. So there's not much different at all. So you don't have to think about it. It's just a very normal thing, scripting or programming. It's totally same. You write some code. That's all. Yes. Now let me open a blank document for you. Now, when you go on internet, okay, first of all, just listen that the first hour of this session is going to be all about explanation of JavaScript. Then after that, we're going to start with coding. Until the last day of this session, we're going to be coding. And so only the first hour of this session is like explanation. So please, just check it out, see everything, listen everything. You'll understand everything of JavaScript, right? So let me just increase the font size for you. Okay. So I'll just make it 20. Okay, so I hope you can see it. So first of all, when you go on internet, like previously when you go on internet, search what is JavaScript, a definition pops up like this. JavaScript is a client-side scripting language, right? So the first thing is it's a scripting language. That basically means it has all the programming features and it gets interpreted by the browser. Second thing, why it is called client-side. So now in web development, you have to understand there are two things. There is a client and there is a server. Server is someone which serves the website, like which keeps the website, right? So I'll also explain you what exactly is the architecture of client and server so that it is easier for you to understand. So let's go on Jamboard where I can draw something that I can show you. Okay, so now we are starting with the concepts. So you have to listen very carefully. Listen everything very carefully. It's very important now. Okay. So let's start with it. So let's try to, before moving on to JavaScript, before moving on to any kind of coding, let's start with a little bit of understanding about what exactly is a website and how it works, right? So what is a website? A website is nothing but a collection of web pages. So when you go on a browser, you type some www.something.com and you see something. So that is a web page, right? When I go on Facebook, I type www.facebook.com. I see Facebook's login page. That is a web page. Then Facebook has a lot of pages. A login page, a page where you can see your feeds, a page where you can see your chats, a page where you can see the news or related to anything, right? So that complete collection of pages is known as a website. So that is all. There's a web page and a collection of web pages is known as a website, right? And now, so basically, what is the methodology? How do I create a website, right? So let's try to understand that. So let's say okay, I have my computer. Okay, I go on and create. Now you'll understand how to create when I start coding, but just try to understand it right now. I have my PC. I go on and create some pages, right? And I can view them in browser. So that is my website. I have my website. I have my PC. I go on, code something, create pages, create multiple pages so that I have my website. So I have a collection of web pages now. But now I want to show my website to the whole world. But you have to understand that my computer, my local computer that I have is not connected to the whole world. So if I want my website to be viewed like for the whole world, I have to keep it somewhere where everyone is connected with. I have to keep my website at some place from where everyone is connected, right? So just like my computer, there is one more computer. Like there can be a computer, a big computer that is connected to a whole world, right? That is referred to as a server. Now a server is nothing, it's just a computer. It can have a memory better than my computer. It can have a RAM better than my computer because it is basically connected to a lot of computers in the world. That's all. So let's say this is my computer, right? Let's say this is my computer in India, right? So I have my computer in India, and there's one more computer that is in, let's say, Australia, something like that. Okay. So let's say there's one more computer in Australia, there's one more computer in US, or like anywhere in the world, right? So we have a lot of computers. So this computer here is connected to each and every computer in the world, right? So actually my computer is not connected to this Australian computer. Like we all have our computers. I have my computer, you people will having your own PCs, but they are not connected. We are connected to a bigger computer. We all are connected to a bigger computer that is known as a server, right? That is all. A server, first of all, you have to understand, a server is nothing but a computer. It's bigger and better, and it is connected to everyone, right? Now, let's say I create a website in my computer, but now only I can see it. I want that website to be seen by everyone in Australia, in US, in everywhere. So what I will do is I will keep my website somewhere where everyone is connected. So what I'll do is I'll move my website, I'll copy all the files, I'll copy all the pages to a better computer. So basically, let's say I have a section of this computer and I keep all my pages, like all my web pages. So I keep all my web pages here on the server. Now then, so basically my server has all my web pages. Now it's available globally because this is a computer. This server is a computer that is connected to everyone in the world. Now basically then Australian computer can also view my web pages because it is connected to a server. The American computer can also view my web pages because it is connected to the server. So that's it. That is how it works. That's all. Now there is a lot of detailing in this. We also have the concept of domain names, hosting spaces. We have a lot of things, but I'm not going to explain that right now. This is just in a nutshell. So there's a global computer that is known as a server where we can keep our files, right? So that everyone can see it. And the computers that we have, they are known as clients. So this can be named as a client computer, and this is a server, right? A bigger computer where I can keep my files so that everyone can see it. Now, don't worry about it. If you don't understand it first, don't worry about it. Don't at all worry about it. It's not the thing that you're going to do right now. This is just, I want you people to understand first. That's all. Okay. So are we clear with this, guys? Are we clear with the concept of this?
Sir, sorry to interrupt. There are few questions asked, like
Yeah, please.
difference between compiler and interpreter. That's
Okay,
the
I'll tell
question.
you. Yeah, sure. So basically, let's say if now people can only understand this concept if they have done some kind of programming, first of all. So let's try to understand. So I'll open my text editor. I'll tell you, right? I'll tell you what exactly is the difference between a compiler and an interpreter. So let's say you are at some place, right? You have an editor with you and you write some code like, okay, fine. This is code line 1. Don't worry, I'm not writing any code. So this is code line 1, right? Code line 1. Then you have code line 2. Then let's say you write a lot of lines of code, right? So let's say this is a C language. Let's say this is C language. So what compiler does is, when you say, okay, fine, I want to compile this program, what exactly happens is compiler takes all the code at once and starts converting that into an machine language, right? Into binary, right? So what compiler does is takes all the code at once, takes the whole block at once and starts compiling it into a machine language so that computer can understand it. That's what a compiler does. Now, if I give this code to interpreter, what interpreter will do is it will execute or convert code, my whole code, line by line. So it works like this. First, this line will be compiled or interpreted basically, then this line will be interpreted, then this line will be interpreted, then this line will be converted. So interpreter basically, or you can say compiles your code, or you can say interprets your code line by line, right? Interpreter converts your code into machine language line by line. You write one line, that is interpreted. You write second line, that is interpreted. You write third line, that is interpreted, right? But if you are having a compiler language like C, in that case, you write all your code first, then click on compile, then whole block is compiled at once. So that is the difference here. That is the difference between compiler and interpreter. Compiler takes the whole code and converts it into machine language. Interpreter does the same thing, converts the code in a machine language, but it converts it line by line. You write one line, go on the next line, the first line is converted. You write second line, go on the third line, the second line is converted. So that is the difference. That exactly is the difference. If you have ever done C or C++, you might know that you go on, create a C file, write a lot of code, and then click on like Alt F9 and the whole code is compiled. But if you have ever done Python, you go there, you write a code, press enter, that particular line is executed. So that is the only difference. Both are doing the same thing. It's just one is doing it once, the whole code is getting converted at once, and the second is doing it line by line. That's the only difference here. And actually, a lot of languages do both, right? Like Java performs both compilation and interpretation depending on its needs. So again, it depends totally on the language, totally on the needs. So you don't have to worry about it because both are doing the same thing, converting the programming language into machine language. Exactly, both converts into machine language.
Sir, there is one more question.
Yes,
The difference between HTML and JavaScript, and what is DOM manipulation?
I'll tell you all of that because that is something that there is like I have to explain right now. So it's fine. Yeah, I'll explain it like after 5 minutes when we are at the topic. So don't worry. Okay. So I hope you people understood the difference between compiler and interpreter. So that is all. That's the difference. So you don't have to worry about it. It's just how a language is converted to machine language. But at the end, everything is same, right? And now again, so now your PC is a client and the server has all the websites. Now, I'll just explain it again. A server is nothing but a computer, a big computer that somebody owns, like Google, like Facebook, like Apple. They own. Even you can make your own server, but you just have to have that much of money, have that much of space to create that thing. So that is it. So don't like get confused about it. A server is just a computer. If you want, you can also make it. So basically, a server is something that serves data to the whole world, right? Your PC is not serving any data to the whole world. Your PC is just having its own data that you can see. Your PC's data cannot be seen by anyone, but you can create a PC that can connect to the whole world and serve data to the whole world. But it's just you need a lot of money for that. You need a lot of space for that. That's why we can't do it. People like us cannot do it, but people like Facebook, Apple, Google can do it because they want to do that thing, right? Yes, you can say it's a supercomputer. Yes, exactly. Interpreter is faster, Vikas Reddy. Interpreter is faster. Okay. So it's just that. Now, in future, I'm going to also teach you, like if you come on to the next course, I'm also going to teach you how to create your own server. That will be a small server, but I'll teach you how to create a server. So first of all, you have to understand server is just something that serves data, serves file. That's why it is known as a server. So it's again just a computer, just a machine. That's all. So now what I do, I create a website and just pass it or move it on the server so that everyone connected to the server can see it. And that's how I make my website live, right? So now let's say, okay, are we cleared? Yes, server is the host server. Yes, exactly. Yes, Piyush, we can do that. Yes. Okay, now let's move ahead. Now let's say I have moved my website on the server, all the web pages, all the things that I've created on the server, and I have connected a domain name to my website. Okay, so let's say I have given a name to this space. Okay, I'll explain you domain name and everything once we get to all that topic. It's just I'm just trying to give you idea in a nutshell, so that in future if I say server and client, you will easily understand what exactly is a server and what exactly is a client. Okay, so let's say I buy a domain name like www.hello.com. Okay, something like this. And let's say I have connected this domain name to the space that is containing my web pages, to the space, like to this particular space that I own, where I have stored all my web pages. Now I say people, okay, if you go on www.hello.com, you can see my website. And that is happening because this name is connected to this whole space where I have stored my all my web pages. Now let's say the client PC in Australia goes in its browser and writes www.hello.com. So what will happen now? My web pages will load in its computer, and that's how the client in Australia can see my website. Let's say there is one more PC somewhere in, let's say, USA, right? Somewhere like USA. The same thing will happen there. This is also a client PC. A person owns it. He will go in its browser and type same thing, www.hello.com, right? So basically, when he types www.hello.com, a request will be sent to server. Please find a website related to this domain name. It will go here. Okay, find all the web pages and get it and load it in your browser. That's how a website works, basically. Domain is also inside a server. Like domain names has a completely different server, a DNS, a domain name server. It's completely different, and it is maintained by the companies which basically sell you domains. So it's very easy thing. Domains are also maintained in a server, and they are basically sold by the companies that provide you all these services. Like they give you domain names, they give you spaces on the server that you can buy and keep your websites and web pages. So you'll understand about this topic when we actually try to do some websites live and everything. So it's just a very basic explanation of a client server architecture. That's all. So domain is not a server. Domain is the name. But there is a domain server where all the domains are stored. Okay. So now, so these PCs, these three PCs that is in Australia, India, and USA are clients, and this is a server which is basically serving all the content, serving all the web pages. Now, as I said, I create a website and put all my files on the server. Now, what possible files can be on my server? Like what are the files, right? So they can be HTML files, CSS files, maybe JavaScript files, Java files, PHP files, anything, like any language that you have chosen to create a website. They can be PHP files, they can be C# files, right? They can be Python files. It totally depends on whatever language you choose to create a website in, right? So these files can be on your space, holding your code of the website. Don't worry, Khushi, Dome, I have not we'll go to the topic, so don't worry. Okay, so are we clear with this? So these are all the file types that can be on my server, right? So now, when you call www.hello.com, all these files come to your PC, and then you can see the whole website, right? Are we cleared? Now, what was the point behind all this? What was the point that we were trying to understand for all of this? Now, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Java can be loaded on your PC. Now, you have to understand coding languages like Java and JavaScript use memory to execute themselves, use memory to perform all the operations. So you have to understand, when these websites load, let's say HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Java have loaded on your website now. The whole code has loaded on your computer now, and you can see the website. But now, let's say you perform any operation. Let's say you perform any operation that is happening using Java. So that thing will be executed on server. that thing will be executed on server. Because in this case, when you do website development, Java is a server side language. That basically means Java will be executed only on the server computer. But JavaScript, any operations that require JavaScript language will be always executed on the client machine, right? So when I open www.facebook.com, all the operations that require JavaScript actually use the local computer's memory, your computer's memory, right? That's why JavaScript is known as a client-side scripting language, because it executes on your computer. It executes on the client. So if I load any website, right? So whatever the JavaScript operations that website has will be executed, will use my computer's memory. Same as like you also have computer, you load a website, all the functionalities of JavaScript will be executed on your computer. So that's how it works. Are we cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? So I was basically letting you know that why JavaScript is known as a client-side scripting language. Why it is known as a client-side? Because it takes or it uses the client's memory, not the server's memory where it came from. It is stored on the server. The language, the code is stored on the server, but when it's loaded in your computer, it uses your memory to execute all the operations, whatever JavaScript is doing. Okay, so are we cleared with this, everyone? Don't worry, Arun. We'll see that, Arun. We are just starting all of it, right? So let's first complete everything. Let's try to understand what exactly JavaScript is. Then we'll move to what you call how to create, read, delete a cookie with JavaScript. Okay. Piyush Chandel will definitely do that. Right now it's just a JavaScript session, so let's try to first understand what it is. Then we'll move to that. Yes, but we are not talking about Node.js, right? We are still going there, right, Niharika? So don't worry. Okay, should we move ahead, guys? Are we understanding why JavaScript is known as or was known as a client-side scripting language? Now, let's move ahead to one more thing. Now, after 2009, there was a thing that was invented, right? Okay, but before that, now, as I said, JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. You can also call why it is client-side, because it executes in your browser, in the client's browser. In this case, client is nothing but the browser. So basically, the execution environment for JavaScript is nothing but your browser, your own browser. That's why it is known as a client-side scripting language, right? It uses your browser. It is executed inside the user's browser, not on the server. User's PC or user's browser, anything you can say. So that's why it is known as a client-side scripting language. Okay. Are we cleared? Do we have any questions?
Sir, there is this question like, will we make animations using JavaScript?
Yes, exactly. We have that in mind. Yes. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, as I explained you one more thing, right? That JavaScript is a DOM manipulation language, right? I have like also told you this. So first, now we are cleared with why JavaScript is known as a client-side scripting language. Now we are going to clear why JavaScript is also known as a DOM manipulation language. But before that, before like moving on to DOM manipulation language, we have to understand what exactly is DOM, right? What exactly is DOM? Before that, people who are asking for like Angular, React, and everything, you just have to understand that we have just started the JavaScript session. So first you have to go through with this session, then we can like definitely move to React, Angular, and Vue, like whatever your question is related to all those frameworks, right? So we have just started a basic JavaScript essentials session, right? So this is all about JavaScript now. We will talk about JavaScript frameworks later on when we complete JavaScript. So people asking about React, Angular, Vue, you just have to wait for it then, right? But we have all of that in our courses, so don't worry. Okay. So now, as I told you that JavaScript is also known as a DOM manipulation language. But before moving on to DOM manipulation, we first have to understand what exactly DOM is. So first I'll tell you the full form, then I'll explain you what exactly it is. So DOM is nothing but document object model. Document object model, right? It is basically the full form. You just have to now you have to understand where you can find this or what it looks like or how to create it, right? So first of all, understand the full form for DOM is document object model. Now let's try to understand what it is. Now, if you are if you have ever learned HTML, right? So you know that we create HTML files like this, right? Let's say we go on and create a file named first.html. Let's go on and create a file named first.html. Or let's do one thing. Let's write a proper code for it, right? So again, I'll introduce you with the code editor that we are going to use throughout this course. So we are going to use VS Code. So if you don't have it, you people have to download it, this editor. Just search for VS Code, download in your computer, and go to the first link. That's fine. And from this, you can download VS Code related to your PC. Either you're using Linux or Mac or Windows. Related to your computer, just download VS Code and install it. It's very simple. Just double click, next, and it will get installed, right? So this is the code editor that we are going to use throughout our course, Visual Studio Code, right? So if you have it, that's well and good. If you don't have it, please go on and download it. But it's totally fine if you feel like using Sublime Text. If you're not comfortable with VS Code, if you're already using Sublime Text or Notepad++ or Atom, totally fine. You can use all of them too, right? So I'll suggest you to use VS Code, but if you're not comfortable with VS Code, if you have your favorite editor with you, you can use that. That is totally fine. Yes, you can also use brackets. That's fine. Use brackets, Sublime Text, Atom, anything that you like. Okay. Yes, that's fine if you have Sublime Text. So download VS Code depending on your operating system. Either use Deb if you have Ubuntu. For any other Linux, you can use RPM. And then for Windows, you have it. So just download it, install it, and that will fine. No, you can't use Photoshop, Umesh. You can't use Photoshop because we are going to write some code. We're not going to design. We're going to write some code. Yes, you can also use Eclipse. It's totally fine. But I'll suggest you to download VS Code. Okay. Now, once you download it and install it, you'll get something like this. Search for it and open it. You'll see a window like this. It is a lot similar to Sublime Text and Atom. You just have all the options of creating new files, storing your files, writing code, having IntelliSense, all of that. So it's almost same like Sublime and everything. It's your personal preference from here. Like I personally like VS Code. That's why I like to use it. It's a lot easier to use. Okay. VS Code, okay, I'll just tell you one line why VS Code is better. Because in VS Code, inclusion of extensions is very easier. It does not come with all the extensions downloaded by default. You can go on and customize it by yourself. You can choose what extensions you want, and a lot of developers contribute to its extension. So you have a lot of very great extensions available in VS Code, right? That help you to write a clean, better, and proper code. That's why VS Code is preferable. And it's lightweight.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Actually,
Yes,
there was a question from Shekhar that why are we
yes.
learning DOM manipulation when there is no use of it after learning JavaScript libraries like React and Redux or Node? Like there is no use of DOM manipulation. This was the question from Shekhar.
Okay. Okay. For the people who don't know DOM manipulation, don't worry. I'm just answering Shekhar. First of all, Shekhar, you have to understand that React, Angular, and everyone internally are using JavaScript. You're just writing the upper code, like the framework code that have been given to you by the framework. But internally, React, Vue, and Angular are doing DOM manipulation, right? So if you're using framework, then it's totally fine because they are doing it for you. But if you're working with JavaScript, let's say you're not using React, Angular, then in that case, to provide functionality, you have to use JavaScript, right? When you're creating a website in normal, let's say you're not using React, let's say using Java as okay, fine, it's the backend. Let's say you're not using React, Angular, or Vue as your framework, as your front-end framework. In that case, you have to go for JavaScript. And one more thing, to understand React, Vue, Angular, and how they work internally, how they are actually doing all the work that they do, you have to understand JavaScript DOM manipulation. right? So React, Angular, and Vue are not languages, right? They are not languages. They are just frameworks that are made in JavaScript. So if you're learning JavaScript, first you have to understand what exactly JavaScript does and how DOM manipulation works, right? Because React and Angular are just a upper level thing that are giving you all the features right away. You just have to code very little, but deep down they are doing JavaScript, right? That's why. So if you're learning the core code, you have to understand what happens internally, how it works. So it's a very important thing that JavaScript provides. DOM manipulation is one of the most important things that JavaScript provides, right? So even let's say if you're not using React, then you go for JavaScript, then you have to understand DOM manipulation. So that is the important of it. React, Angular, and Vue are doing DOM manipulation internally, and if you're not using them, you have to know what is DOM manipulation and how to do it, right? So that is the important.
So there was one more question, that how do we run JavaScript in mobile, from Shruti.
JavaScript in mobile. So again, it's just JavaScript can run on any browser. So if you have a browser, you can run JavaScript, right? You can like you have a lot of what you say called code editors available on Play Store. If you're using Android, there are a lot of code editors available on Play Store. What you can do is you can just go on in that editor in your mobile, write JavaScript code, and use any of your browsers. You have Chrome in your mobile, you have Mozilla, if you have UC browser, any kind of browser you have in mobile, you can run your JavaScript code on. So that's fine. You can also like you can use any of there are also JavaScript web viewers available on Play Store. You can use that. There are a lot of apps that can view JavaScript output. You can use that, or you can use your normal browser in your phone. That's totally fine. So that is how you can run your JavaScript code in mobiles.
Thank you, sir.
So
Okay.
there is one more question. Like, if
Yes.
someone writes front end with the JavaScript and back end with other language, can the website work like
Yes.
perfectly?
That's how it works. Before React Angular, like before just like around 6 to 7 years, that was the way of doing it. Still, that is the way of doing it. If like not everyone in this world uses React or Angular. A lot of people use Java in the backend and normal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in the front end, right? So it works, right? And that was the way of doing that. It was the perfect way of doing. React, Angular, and Vue are just providing a layer, an easy layer for coders, right? But before that, people used to write the complete JavaScript thing. And still, there are a lot of things that React, Angular, and Vue does not provide you, right? They can only provide the common things. What about the things that you customly want? What about the things that you want to change in that framework? Then for that, you have to write your own JavaScript, right? Because that framework is already written in JavaScript, and it does not provide you with all the features in the world. So basically, if you need something that is very uh, custom to you, that is not available commonly, you have to write your own code in that case, right?
So one more question is like how to
Yes.
connect our website with the server.
That is like the maybe the end of the session, that when you learn how to make your websites live. So you don't connect your website, you basically push whole website on the server. You just copy your like all the pages you have made and paste it on the server. It's just another computer. That's all. So that is like a complete thing to learn. I can't just tell you, right? But in a nutshell, it's just you take all your files and copy it or upload it on the server. So that's how it works. Okay. Okay, then let's move ahead. So we have a VS Code now. So let's do one thing. Let's create a folder on desktop where I'll keep all my files that I'm gonna create for this session. So let's create a folder, and I'll just name it JS lectures. Okay. So now from now, guys, you can completely focus because almost the theory part is ending, and now we are gonna start to code. So we have JS lectures. I'm just creating a folder, JS lectures. You can see, okay, so I have a folder you can also create. And just to let you know, I'm using Ubuntu as my computer, as my operating system, sorry. Okay. Now, if I want, I can open this folder in VS Code. So I can just go on and say File, Open Folder, right? And just go to the location and just select the folder and okay. So basically now I have my folder open in my VS Code. So that's basically a shortcut for me directly to create and edit files in that folder. So as you can see now, Okay, so as you can see now I have a folder. So now this is an option that will create a new file for you in that folder. So you can see this is new file, this is new folder, this is refresh. If let's say you have created some file but you can't see it, you can just refresh so that it reloads the whole thing. And this is the collapsible file. Let's say you have opened it, and if you want to collapse it, this is you can use. So this is open, this is collapse. Okay, so let's create a new file, and I'm creating an HTML file. So let's name it first.html. Okay, so now I have a HTML file here. Okay, I hope you can see my font size. Java and JavaScript are not same, Pramita. Java and JavaScript are not same. Okay, you'll understand it once we start doing the code. You'll understand what is the difference. Okay, guys, so we are going to understand the DOM in few minutes now. So let's write a very basic HTML code, very basic, very basic HTML code. So let's say you have HTML, right? And I'm going to write it by myself. I'm not going to do like, I'm not going to let the editor do it for me. So I'm going to write everything by myself. Then we have head tag, and I hope you understand tags a little. Then we have title tag, right? Okay, then inside title I can write anything. So let's write welcome. Then let's say after head I have a body tag, and let's say inside body I have a h1 that has an hello with it, and after h1 let's say I have a div tag. Okay, and inside div let's say I have a p tag, something like this, and it has a hi with it. So this is a HTML document that I have created. I have a HTML document, that's all. Very simple plain HTML document. Now let's try to understand what is a DOM. Now if you see this, you have a tag structure, you have tags inside tags inside tags. Now if I tell you, okay fine, can you please create a tree diagram for me for this particular code, right? If you try to understand a tree diagram for it, so it looks like this. HTML is having everything. That's why HTML is the parent element. Now these are also known as, now see, this thing is also known as a tag, or you can call it as an element, or you can also call it object. So these things can be called anything related to where they are getting used. So either you can call them tag, or you can call them element, or you can call them objects. So please understand this, because in different perspectives I'm going to call their different names. So you have to understand this. Either you can call them tags or elements or objects, right? So this body is also an element, this h1 is also an element, this div is also an element or an object, or normally a tag, right? Now, if I tell you to create a tree diagram for this particular document, for this particular code, so you can easily understand that, okay, fine, this HTML is having everything. That's why this is the parent element, right? So let's go on the Jamboard again. Okay, so let's go on the Jamboard. Now what I'll do is I'll clear this frame. Now, if I compare that document, what will happen is the first element that I have here is HTML element, right? Then if you go on the document again, you can see you have head and you have body. Now head and body both are inside HTML. So basically they both are the childs of HTML element. You can say they both are the childs of HTML elements. And what is their relation? They are siblings because they share the same parent, right? Anyone who shares the same parent, they are siblings. So head and body are siblings, right? We can say that. So now you can say that, okay, HTML has what you can say head and body, right? So these both are all the childs of HTML. So I'm just creating a tree diagram. If you can understand it easily, I'm just creating a very basic tree diagram, just understanding of the code. Now head has a title. So title is the child of head, and so title's parent is head and head's parent is HTML. So in this case, title and HTML have a relation of grandchildren, grandparent. HTML is the grandparent of title and title is the grandchildren of HTML. That's how you talk if you call it a tree diagram. Same is the case with this body. Now body, you can go on the code. You see body has a h1 and a div. So div and h1 are sharing same parent, right? So that's why we can say h1 and div are siblings. So the same thing again. I have h1 and I have div. Simple. something like this. And then inside my div, I have a P. So it's a div's children. Okay, so this is how it is working, right? This is how it is working. So this is the tree diagram of the HTML document, right? And if I call it a tree, these are nothing but branches or nodes. You can call them nodes or branches or objects. So this HTML body, h1 div p are all objects. So the tree diagram of a HTML document is known as the document object model. This is DOM. Now it does not actually look like this, but I'll tell you how it looks. So don't worry about it. But you have to understand the tree diagram or the tree structure of a HTML document is known as the document object model. This is the document object model. And internally, when you run your HTML code on the browser first converts your normal HTML code into a tree structure. It converts your HTML code into tree and then reads that tree and generates the output for you. So basically, browser directly does not run your code. It converts your code into a tree and then it reads that tree and creates the element for you and displays the web page to you. So the tree structure of a HTML document is known as a DOM, a document object model. Are we cleared? And people asking about doc type, don't worry, it's just a HTML5 specification. It's not an element, so don't worry about it. I did it, so don't worry. In future, we'll add it. It's totally fine. Fine. So it's not mandatory. Doc type is not mandatory. Just leave it for now. Okay. Are we cleared with this?
Uh,
Yes, Vani, please tell me.
Sir, there are few questions like JavaScript can be used for backend without frameworks.
Yes, we can use, but that is like a topic that we'll talk in maybe next few lectures. Like we are following a structure, right? So first we have to understand what JavaScript was, how it evolved, and how it actually got converted into a server-side language. Right now I'm explaining only about client-side language, right? In few lectures I'll also tell you how it got evolved, because JavaScript became a server-side language just 10 years back, right? That's why I didn't like took that topic to explain it now. I'll also explain you how it became a server-side language in next few topics. But yes, you can use it as a server-side language, but it happened only just 10 years back. Before that, it was not possible. JavaScript only was a client-side language, right? That's why I'm not taking that topic. I'll explain you maybe in next few lectures. So guys, don't worry. All your future doubts, keep it with yourself, because I have planned a lot of things. I'll solve all your doubts. So don't worry about it. Okay.
There is one more question, sir. Like, can
Yes,
you explain the difference between DOM and virtual DOM?
Now that is something we learn when we learn React. But yes, it's very simple to understand. Guys, don't worry. Fine. So both are tree structure. It's just virtual DOM is nothing but a copy of a real DOM, right? A copy of a real DOM. That's all. Virtual DOM is nothing but a copy of a real DOM. That fine. So DOM generates your output. Virtual DOM does not generate your output. It is just there from where we can compare the real DOM and see what are the changes. And that is only done when you're using React. It is not done in normal JavaScript. So virtual DOM is the concept that comes in React. And now you just have to understand that virtual DOM is nothing but a copy of a real DOM, image of a real DOM, you can say. That is just used to compare the real DOM and virtual. So basically, whatever changes are made in the browser, that first reflects in virtual DOM. So we compare real DOM and virtual DOM and see what are the changes, and then we also change in real DOM. But virtual DOM is not the one who creates the output. Real DOM is the one which creates the output, and that only happens in React, because this is the concept of React. So it's just image of a real DOM. Virtual DOM is just image of a real DOM that is used to compare the changes between the two DOMs, the real and the virtual ones. Are we cleared?
There is one more question, sir. Like, difference
Yes.
between JavaScript and ASP script, and which is faster?
Okay. First of all, I exactly don't know what is ASP script because I have never used it, right? But that's why I can't compare both of them. But by sound, I can understand that is the concept of .NET ASP, right? So I have never used ASP script. So if it is C#, it is a completely different language, right? But if it is related to DOM manipulation, if ASP script, like just like you also have JScript, right? because currently there is no competitor of JavaScript. Previously, there was a competitor for JavaScript, that was JScript. Microsoft developed it, and in that case, JavaScript was a lot faster. That's why JScript just got deprecated, and we are only using JavaScript from then. Like from last 10 to 15 years, there is no competitor for JavaScript. JavaScript is one of a kind. That's why basically I have never learned ASP.NET. That's why I can't compare, right? So I can't actually answer that. But by sound, I can see that ASP.NET is something related to .NET, right?
Yes, sir. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, a lot of people are asking what is exactly a framework. Don't worry, guys. I'll explain you. Don't worry. When we reach to that particular topic, I'll definitely explain you what exactly is a framework. So don't worry about it. Don't worry. And people asking what is TypeScript? It's very simple. TypeScript, first of all, it's not a language. It's just what you can say an upper part, or there's a name for it actually. So you can just say it's one level above JavaScript. It's JavaScript, but it's just a way of writing good JavaScript, right? So that's all. So don't worry, I'll also explain you what is TypeScript. We have a lot of things to cover, but let's first try to understand what is DOM properly. Okay, so I hope people understood what exactly is DOM, right? Now let's try to run our code and see where can we see the DOM, right? So let's save this file. Okay, let's save this file, and now see how you can run it. Now you can go to that folder where you have stored it, right? So we have stored it in JS lectures.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Like, there is
Yes,
one
yes.
more question from
Please
Pravalika
ask.
Devi. Like, before knowing JS, we should get to know about HTML and CS, and when will it be taught?
Okay, first of all, this I'll just be very frank. This session is very much intended to teach you JavaScript. So HTML and if you know HTML and CSS, it will be really good, right? But a little bit of HTML, CSS, I'll teach you. I'll teach you a little bit of HTML and CSS. But as I'm saying, I can't teach you everything about HTML and CSS, right? So if you don't know, you can go on today after the session and at least learn the basics of HTML and CSS. And those two are not a very hard topic to learn. So I think you can just took 2 to 3 hours to understand HTML and CSS, right? So that's what I'm saying. We are not going to learn HTML and CSS in here. I'm just directly going to write HTML and CSS code, right? But still I'll explain you what that code is doing. So I'll teach you a little bit, but this session is only intended to teach you a lot of JavaScript, right? So if I start teaching HTML and CSS, our JavaScript time will go. So that's why I'll just say you after the session, please go on and learn a little bit of HTML and CSS. That is very, very easy to learn, right? Okay.
Sir, there is one more question which is very interesting from Kusum Chowdhury. Like, how JavaScript will help me in cybersecurity?
Okay, first of all, like now when you talk about cybersecurity, it has a lot of things in that, right? So you have website security, you have what do you say, form security, where you stop SQL injection and everything. So first of all, see, JavaScript is a client-side language, so you can perform, like I'm just talking about websites. I'm not talking about like something other than that, like PC security or machine security. I'm just talking about website security. So for website security, you can do every possible thing that is done on client side. You can perform all your form validations. You can stop the user from submitting the form if there is a problem. So actually, it's a coding language. You can write a lot of code inside it for checking the values of user, so that excessive scripting cannot be there, cross-site scripting can be stopped, and you can also stop SQL injection, right, by reading the values. So these are few things that you can do, but exactly JavaScript is not built for that, right? But you can do a lot, like very small things to stop few things in cybersecurity. You can do very few things about that, right? So exactly, it is not made to perform like operations that do cybersecurity. Those are basically the responsibility of the backend languages like PHP and Java, right? So yes, so you can do very basic, very few things, but not everything. Okay, should we move ahead now, guys? Should we move ahead now? One more thing. If a lot of people are asking what is the relation between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, just see like this: HTML creates the elements, right? HTML creates the element. CSS styles them. It gives height, width, color, background, everything. So by using HTML and CSS, you can design a website that looks good, right? But you can't do that click operations, animations, pop-ups, and everything. You can't do that. For that thing, you need something called as JavaScript. So HTML creates the elements for you. CSS styles them by giving them height, width, adjustment, everything. And JavaScript adds interactivity. You can perform operations, right? So that's what JavaScript does. So these are very three important layers of a website. The front end layer, HTML creates the element, CSS styles them, and JavaScript adds interactivity, adds functionality. You can do something, you can create pop-ups, you can hide elements, you can show elements, right? That's what DOM manipulation means. Now let's try to understand that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
So
yes,
actually, you mentioned before that if it's better if they like know HTML and CSS beforehand a bit. So there
yes.
were few students asking from where they could learn both of them.
Okay, so it's actually really easy. You can go on YouTube, like it's a lot of videos are available. You can just go on YouTube. I'll not suggest you to read everything because it will be a lot tougher for you to read and understand. So you can go on W3 Schools or Tutorials Point or Java T Point. They have really good content, but that all is a textual content, right? You have to understand that by reading it. So I'll suggest you to go on YouTube. You have a lot of great channels like Net Ninja, then you have Adam Khoury, then we have Code with Mosh, where you can learn HTML and CSS in like 2 or 3 hours, right? So you can watch videos, do it simultaneously, see them what they are doing, do it simultaneously, and you'll understand everything about it. It's not at all tough. It's a lot easier than JavaScript and C. Learning HTML and CSS is very, very, very easy. So you can actually cover it up in 2 to 3 hours, or you can just take 2 days and cover it up. So I'll suggest you to learn from YouTube if you want to learn quick. Yes, Traversy Media is one of the best. Yes. Okay. Okay, now guys, let's move ahead and let's see what how DOM looks like in a browser. So let's run this page. Now you can see here, this is the file that I created, right? Now what I can do is I can just right click and you have the option of open with Firefox browser, or you can just go on and I think use open with other application. In your PC, in Windows, you have open with. So you can select any browser that you like. You can create, select any of your favorite browser. So I want to select Google Chrome because I like it. So I'll just open it in Google Chrome. That's all. Okay, so here is it. Here's the output. I hope you can see it now. See, so I had a h1 and I had a p tag. So this is the output. You can see in the output only the things that you have written in body. That's all, right? Now I want to show you where you can see the DOM. So you can go on, click on inspect, right? And then here you go. In the element section, you can see all your elements. Now this is your DOM tree. This is the DOM tree. Now, a lot of people think that this code is like the same code that they have wrote in the coding window. But you just have to understand that it is not the case. It is not the case. This is the code that you have wrote. And this is the code that browser has understood, that browser has generated, right? So a lot of times, if you have written proper code, your code and this code will totally match. But a lot of times, there are few elements that you miss that browser wants you to write, right? So browser will internally add it, right? There are few elements that you might write that browser does not want. Browser will in future remove it, and I'll also show you the example in future, so don't worry. But you just have to understand that this code is not your code. This code is what the browser has understood. This code is the converted code, right? I'll tell you, don't worry. I'll tell you, don't worry. So this is, you can say, the DOM tree. See, it works like a tree. You have this node, you can open it and see the child, you can open it and see the child, something like that, right? So that's what I was saying. See, so this is basically the DOM tree that the browser has generated. It does not actually look like that what we created, but this is the DOM tree. This is DOM, right? Are we cleared? Are we cleared with DOM now? Are we cleared with what is document object model? The tree structure of a HTML document. That's all. Okay. Are we cleared, everyone? Now let's try to understand what exactly is DOM manipulation, because JavaScript is a DOM manipulation language. Now, when I say DOM manipulation, it's very easy to understand now because now we know DOM. What is manipulation? Manipulation is changing things, right? Manipulation is changing things. Now, let's go to Jamboard again. Okay, so if I go to Jamboard, I hope I have it here. Yeah. So, okay, I think I closed it. I'll just open it again. Not a problem. I hope it is there. I have not deleted it. Okay, so here's the tree diagram. Now, when I say DOM manipulation, that basically means I can manipulate these nodes or these objects using JavaScript. Now, if I want, I can remove any element from the DOM. So this is DOM, right? This complete thing is DOM, right? Now, if I say DOM manipulation, that basically means by using JavaScript, I can remove an object from the DOM. I can add a new object in the DOM. I can replace the object in the DOM, or I can change anything for that object, right? So if I want, by using JavaScript, I can actually remove this h1, right? Is this eraser? It's not working fine. Okay, I think I cannot do it. Fine. So it's just have to understand that, okay, by using JavaScript, I can actually remove this h1. By using JavaScript, I can actually remove this p element. By using JavaScript, I can actually remove this div element. Or by using JavaScript, I can add one more p in the div. By using JavaScript, I can actually change the content that is inside the p element, right? So I can do all sorts of stuff. That's what DOM manipulation means. I can manipulate, or I can change, or I can replace, or I can delete any element inside the HTML document. Yes, we can also change the style. So if my elements have some CSS with them, we can also change them. And that's what we are going to learn in the sessions. We're going to learn all about DOM manipulation. What are the things can you do? And what kinds of projects we're going to create will be based upon DOM manipulation only. Yes, exactly. That's what DOM manipulation means, right? Are we clear with DOM manipulation, guys? Are we clear? Okay, I'll give you an example. You go on some website, right? You go on some website and you see a website, right? And let's say you click on a button and the element appears, a pop-up appears. So you can say that pop-up was not previously there. The pop-up code was not previously there in the website. When you clicked on the button, that pop-up got generated. So that pop-up code was generated by JavaScript. It was not written in the HTML file. That pop-up code was got generated using JavaScript. Either this can be the case, or what can happen there, that pop-up code was written, but the code was hidden and you showed it using JavaScript. So you can, like, either way it works, but again, it's part of DOM manipulation. Either you're hiding or showing elements, or deleting or adding elements, or generating any element, all is the part of DOM manipulation, right? So that's what DOM manipulation means. DOM is not a language. DOM is the tree structure, buddy. Mohammed Zishan, DOM is the tree structure. It's not a language. So JavaScript is the language that manipulates the DOM, right? Browser generates the DOM by reading HTML document, right? And JavaScript is something or someone or some language that can manipulate the DOM, that can work on the DOM. So you can do anything, any element you can add, any element you can remove, any style you can change, anything. JavaScript can do anything with the HTML document. Okay. Are we cleared, everyone? Are we cleared with this?
So there is one question, like
Yes,
what are
yes.
the plugins we need to install in
Yes, that
Visual
is very
Studio
important.
in
So
order to?
we are not starting to do a lot of code from today. We are starting it from tomorrow, but I'll at least tell you what are the plugins you should install in VS Code. So see, here is the section for extensions. Okay, I'll just zoom out a little bit so that I can show you directly. Okay, I'll just zoom out my VS Code so that I can show you the option. Okay, so this square, you can see this 4 square option. You click on this. This is the extension window now. So I want you people to install few very simple extension in this, right? So the first extension that I want you people to install is what you can say is HTML snippets, HTML CSS. So this is it, HTML CSS support, right? This is what I want you to install first, HTML CSS support. So you can see this, I have already installed it. That's why I'm not getting the install button in the side. See, So this is what I want you to install first, HTML, CSS support, right? This is first thing that I want you to install. Then I want you to install this JavaScript code snippets, this one. Like I have a lot of things installed, so don't think about that. I'm just telling you what you need to install right now. So first, HTML, CSS support. Second, JavaScript code snippets, right? This one. Who is providing this? Karalampos Caripides. Okay, it's a very tough name to pronounce, but it's fine. So this is one extension that I want people to install. JavaScript code snippets. It's a 5-star plugin. You can install this. So this is one thing I want. And I think that will be it. And one more thing I want you to install is Prettier. So this is one thing that I want to install. Prettier code formatter by who is it? What is the name? I think it's just Prettier here. So you can see the icon here actually. So I want you to install this one. Okay. So are we cleared, guys? So these are the 3 things right now I want you to install. So from tomorrow, we're going to need them. Now what Prettier HTML CSS support will basically give you HTML CSS support. You write half tag, half will be completed for you. You write some wrong tag, a warning will be there for you. So that's what HTML CSS support will do for you. JavaScript support again does the same thing. You write some JavaScript code, it will give you hints. Like, okay, fine. Do you want to write from these options? Do you want to write anything from these options? You write half will be done by that formatter or the snippet generator, right? So that's what that's how the extensions will help you. They will basically make your life easier. They will write the half of the code for you, right? And I want you to install Prettier because it will basically, let's say you write code, you write a very messy code, this, and you save it, like you just select and save it. This Prettier will basically arrange your code in a proper way. That's what this Prettier code formatter does. So it will basically keep track that your code is well formatted and it looks very good. So even if you write a messy code, after at the end, you can just apply this, use this extension, and it will make your code look good. That's why I want this thing to install, because writing clean code is very, very, very important. So these are the 3 things that I want you to install. So here is the extension tab, the 4 square, right? HTML, CSS support, JavaScript support, and then finally Prettier code formatter. So 3 things.
Excuse me, sir. There is a very
Yes,
interesting question that, like,
uh,
if styling can be done with JS, what is the need of CSS?
okay. Now see, styling can be done with JS, right? But CSS is a lot lighter than JS. So now again, it depends. If you want to perform styling by default, like normal styling, like when the page loads, that styling should be there. You can do it with CSS, right? But when you only want to change some styles, like by on click or on let's say submit, or let's say on you perform some operation and you want to change the styling, or you want to generate a new styling after a minute or after 2 minutes, that is the thing that you can do with JavaScript. But writing all the styles using JavaScript will take a lot of load because JavaScript is heavier than CSS. So you do only the things that are required. If you can do something that does not use JavaScript, do it with that. So styling 1,000 lines of code using JavaScript is not a good thing, right? CSS is a very lightweight and it can do it by default. That's what it is made for. Even when you use JavaScript, you're gonna write CSS only. Even if you're changing styles or generating styles with JavaScript, internally CSS is the only thing that will be generated. JavaScript will generate CSS, right? So if you want to write normal CSS, that will generate be like loaded by default. There will be no change in future. Go for CSS. But if you want to add like dynamic CSS that gets generated on the go, you can use JavaScript to generate that kind of CSS. But JavaScript is not going to do styling. CSS is the only thing that is going to do styling. JavaScript can actually manipulate the CSS properties, the CSS. So that's what it is. Okay, someone is asking jQuery versus JavaScript. Again, jQuery is not a language. jQuery is a library made in JavaScript. jQuery is also JavaScript. It's just, let's say, someone thought, okay, fine, these are some common functionalities that a lot of people use, like hiding elements, showing elements. These are some common functionalities that a lot of people use. So what that person did is he created a lot of JavaScript functions, right? He created a lot of JavaScript functions, and created a file and launched it on the internet. Now anyone can download that file, link it with their HTML or JavaScript, and then directly call that functions. So basically, the person using JavaScript jQuery does not need to write that code. That is written by someone else. I'm just calling the functions. So that file that the person has created is jQuery. It's the library that is actually containing JavaScript written functions, right? So jQuery is actually a library made in JavaScript. jQuery is basically a file that contains a lot of JavaScript functions that makes developers' life easier. All the common functionalities are written in that file. You don't have to write the code. You can just call the functions directly. So someone has actually did that for you. No, jQuery is not same as Ajax. Ajax is different. jQuery is different. So now I think you understand what is jQuery. Ajax is something else. So don't compare jQuery with Ajax. I'll tell everything. Don't worry. But don't compare it. Ajax is something different. jQuery is different. So I hope now you understand what is jQuery. jQuery is a library made in JavaScript. Let's say a file that contains a lot of JavaScript functions. That's all. React can be called a library and a framework, but mostly it is known as a library, right? It's not a complete thing. You still have to add a lot of things. A framework is something that is complete, has all the restrictions, has all the rule of writing. In React, you can also customize a lot of things. That's why React is considered more of a library, and Angular is considered more of a framework because it provides all set of rules and regulations, all the important files that you need, everything. In React, actually, you can do anything. You can customize, you can perform a lot of things. So it only provides you with basic functionalities. That's why it's more of a library. Framework is something that provides you with files, folders, structure, important functions, everything. Library is something that only provides you with functions that are needed, and you can go on and change it. Netscape founded JavaScript. Netscape was the browser. I hope you know Netscape is the first browser to exist, right? So Netscape is the company that founded JavaScript. Yes, Django is a framework, Laravel is a framework, right?
So also there is one question that what is the difference between JavaScript and PHP and why do we use it?
Okay, again, same thing. PHP is a server-side language. JavaScript, for now, is a client-side language. JavaScript can also be JavaScript can also work as server-side language, right? But let's forget that about now. Okay, let's compare the client-side JavaScript and PHP. So PHP is a server-side language, right? That works on the server, that can handle all the requests and send responses back, that can communicate to databases and everything. So PHP is a server-side language. JavaScript is a client-side language that is basically used to perform DOM manipulation. So that is the difference. Nowadays, you can also use JavaScript as a server-side language. Like JavaScript now can also handle request and connect to database. But let's keep that out for now. Let's compare JavaScript, the client-side JavaScript, and PHP. So in that case, PHP is a server-side language that handles all the database communication, request, responses, everything. And JavaScript, in that case, only does the DOM manipulation part on the client side. Okay. Don't worry, Unnati. Yes, exactly. Because today was like a lot of, it was all about explanation and introduction, right? From tomorrow, we're going to write a lot of code. So the agenda for tomorrow is basically completing the whole basic session of JavaScript, understanding all the programming concepts in JavaScript, so that actually we can quickly move to DOM manipulation. That is very important, right? And a lot of you people might know a little bit of JavaScript, but don't worry, we're going to do a lot of different things. Actually, we're going to do some things, maybe few things that you actually don't know that actually can be done in JavaScript. You're going to see or you can say the power of JavaScript, what JavaScript can do actually, that you might like have never thought of. Again, a plugin is just another file. It's just a library, right? A plugin is just another file that you can attach with your code, and you can use the functionalities of it. So a library and a plugin are not a lot different. They're totally the same thing. A plugin is just like you can plug in it. You can just attach it with your code and use the functionalities. So jQuery can also be called as a plugin, or it can also be called as a library, right? It's just what you call a library where all the functions are stored to perform different things. And when you can attach it with a code, it's also a plugin. That's all. Okay, do we have any more doubts? They're using both, Rizwan. Frameworks like WordPress, Wix, Laravel. First of all, Laravel is a PHP framework, so leave that out. But if you create websites using Laravel, you're surely going to use some JavaScript in that. But yes, frameworks like WordPress and Wix, they are using JavaScript internally. Because see, anything that works on web, 99% of the times it is using JavaScript. Anything that works on web, 99% of the times is using JavaScript for sure. Okay, are we having any more doubts? Some history about JS. What history? It was invented by Netscape, right? You know, like Netscape Navigator was the first browser to ever exist, so it was invented by Netscape to perform this DOM manipulation thing. But initially it was just a very basic programming language, and after that in 2000s and everything, it became a popular DOM manipulation language. Then Microsoft came with its own version of JavaScript named JScript. They were basically trying to compete, because we know that Microsoft has a habit of creating everything of their own. So they created JScript. They were not allowing JavaScript in the Internet Explorer. They created their own language. But after some time, JavaScript took that, and now it's the only thing that exists for DOM manipulation. So JScript was there in between for a little time, but at the end, it lost with JavaScript. So that's the only history. There was a good war between Netscape and Microsoft for that thing. You can still go on Internet Explorer. You can see that Internet Explorer still blocks JavaScript. Right? You can, if you go on Internet Explorer and try to run JavaScript, it says, okay, this is a block content. Do you want to allow? It runs it, but it blocks and gives a warning first. So that was the war between Microsoft and Netscape for JavaScript and JScript. JScript eventually lost. That's why we have JavaScript. But IE still blocks it. No, learning Java is not necessary for JavaScript. As I'm saying that Java and JavaScript are two completely different things. So don't get confused. JavaScript is something else. Java is something else. Like both are programming languages, but they are made to do something else, something completely different. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Yes, yes.
We have came to an end of the session. Like, there's a lot of explanations going on. I guess people must have like gone like, now we need to go somewhere now. Now, like, actually, there is we can like, can we like end the session for the day?
Yes. So guys, I'll just tell you, like, I have just few things to say, Kriti. Uh, so from tomorrow, we're actually starting with code. Today it was all about introduction and was all about understanding what JavaScript is. So I hope that you people understood what JavaScript is, right? So just to like recollect, JavaScript is a scripting language. It's a client-side scripting language because it works on the client. It uses your computer's memory, the client's computer's memory. And again, it's a DOM manipulation language because it manipulates the DOM. And now you also understand what is DOM and what is DOM manipulation. So that was the aim for today's session. You should know what is JavaScript and how it is different from other languages. That was the complete aim for today's session. From tomorrow, we're actually going to start to code. So don't miss out. Be available because we're going to learn a lot of things and at least we are trying to create one or two real-time projects so that you can see what is the actual power of JavaScript. You might have learned JavaScript in school and colleges, but we are trying to do something different here. I have a lot of plans for you, right? So tomorrow, same time maybe, 5 o'clock, and we're going to start coding. No assignments for today. From tomorrow, you'll definitely get assignments when we start to code.
All right, sir. Yes, guy, I was like getting a lot of questions like, where do we get the assignment? So I'll just quickly show you where do you get the assignment and how can you submit it and all. Just a minute. I'll just share my screen and show you how can we do that.
Are we still live?
Yes, sir. Just a minute. I'll be sharing my screen and then
Okay.
I'll
Guys,
just.
don't worry about like all your doubts now, like what API means and everything. I'll be discussing with you, like all of this with you. So don't worry about it.
Yes, guys. So this is our community link. You can this is the community link. You can visit over here, and like here over here, the pinned message is there. You can get all the links. The assignment link over here, it's there. You can just click on the assignment link and fill all your details. Okay, yeah, and you can get how can you submit the assignment. We have also a YouTube video for that. One of our community members have uploaded, like, helped you guys to how to upload it in GitHub. So you can also like visit this link and upload your assignments respectively, and you'll get all the assignment details over here, assignment and also notes details, like whatever is uploaded, whatever sir is providing us the materials and all, you will get it as a link over here. So you can just click it after the session, obviously. So you can just click it and visit, and also will provide you all the lecture summaries, so do not worry about it. Yeah, all right. Yes, sir. Over to you, Vani. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Hope you guys had a great session. Have a great days, guys. Thank you for supporting. See you guys tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, sir. It was great having you as usual. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 5 o'clock. Thank you, guys.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining in.